Yes, what is up, everybody, and welcome to episode 24 of the J&J Dating Dynamics podcast. I am Jay. The ugly guy over there is Jay. And this is
Hey,
episode 24. Ugly. You are ugly, bro. Come on. I'm a dude. I'm supposed to say that. Anyway, welcome to episode 24. We're almost at a quarter century episodes.
we're gonna debate this. I want to see some comments. Who's the ugly guy here?
Oh, come on, dude. You don't want to mess with
Who's
this.
the ugly one?
You don't want to mess with this. Chris201 on Instagram. Welcome to the stream, brother. What we're going to talk about today is, Justin.
We're talking about what's going on with cancel culture and the whole thing that's going on with Andrew Tate and his brother Tristan. And what's your other half we got talking about tonight, Joel?
Later on, we're going to take a look at some really entitled, mainly women, but entitled people overall on dating apps. It's going to be a lot of fun. And also, an interview just dropped with one of Andrew Tate's alleged victims. So we are going to react to that live. I haven't seen it yet. Justin hasn't seen it yet.
I have not.
It'll be in real time. You're going to get the reaction right along with us. I don't know what that name is on Instagram. Hey, my sister's on. Hey, sister, you don't want to watch this.
What up, Krista? I saw something actually, I think last week I saw something about, some of the victims coming out. And I also saw some of the other girls that were interviewed that were also part of the same household.
Dave Blaze is on the chat. He says Zachary Levi is getting hit with cancellation. Sorry, I don't know who Zachary Levi is. Do you?
No, fill us in. Let me look it up.
Fill us in, Jay Blaze. Fill us in. Who's Zachary Levi? But oh, by the way, I did forget to mention that this is Jason Momoa's favorite podcast.
Mhm.
Yes, it is. Yes, sir. All right. So, cancel culture in general. Is this a millennial thing, do you think, Justin? Or has there always been some level of this nonsense and now it's just becoming really popular?
Honestly, I don't think anything has to do with, generations, or it's not a generational thing at all. I
You
think
think this
it's
is a new phenomenon? Maybe
no, I think it's just people trying to silence people that are trying to awaken the masses on a whole. Like if you don't fit the narrative that they're trying to put out there, you will be canceled.
Okay, I did want to get to this. Who are they?
Whoever's in control. Basically, I don't know if you saw what happened the other day. You know what? Let's not even get into it because I don't want to get canceled for talking about stuff.
Bro, we're too small to get canceled still. That's the good thing about being a new podcast. We can say whatever the hell we want on here.
Well, there's a company that they're currently trying to get all of us to take the, I won't say it, but you guys know what I'm talking about.
I think I do.
It
Is
rhymes.
What is it talking about?
It rhymes with Vaseline. It sounds close to Vaseline.
That's exactly what Jay Blaze is talking
So
about.
they want us to all get the Vaseline.
Right.
And one of the big pharmaceutical companies, one of their execs just got caught saying that they're trying to mutate the shminies. The shminies.
That you sent me?
Yeah.
Dude, I'm sorry. I don't believe anything that James O'Keefe does.
I mean, bro.
I've met the guy personally. The guy's a sleazeball from hell. Trust me.
Listen, I don't know. Gain of function seems like it could be a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like it can be very profitable for these companies. So I wouldn't put it past them. And
I wouldn't put it past them either. But like I said, first, James O'Keefe, I'm not no. Don't give me that as a source. But a lot of people push this narrative of the deep state. Is that kind of where you're trying to get at?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, Tate gave warnings and he knew that somebody was eventually going to come after him. There's videos where he says it. He's like, at first they're going to try and silence you and they're going to try and put you in jail. First, they're going to silence you by taking away your social media and getting you off of all platforms. And if that doesn't work, they're going to try and jail you. And then, If that doesn't work, eventually,
Yeah, that's what Andrew Tate said a few years ago himself. Now, my thing is, I don't like the term deep state, mainly because I don't think they're that deep. I think they're out there and they say what they're going to say. Yeah, they're corporate. A lot of them are corporate, CEOs that never speak out. But a lot of this is pushed through the media. That's not really deep. They're out there, you know.
I don't know. I honestly believe I don't think he was out there putting misogyny out there. A lot of people would say that he's
No,
misogynistic. I could see how some of that could be misconstrued
sure.
because of some of the things that he has said or done.
Hmm.
But that's not the things that he has done isn't what he's preaching for people to do.
Right now,
And we don't know what he's done, but the
right,
message that he's preaching is very helpful to a lot of young men out there.
sure.
And not only young men out there, because a lot of people, a lot of feminists are attacking him, saying that he's a misogynist, but in reality, he is all for the family unit.
Jay Blaze says he could explain this. Jay, hey, hit me up on Instagram. My Instagram's right there. I'll send you the link. I'd be happy to have you on, brother. One thing I wanted to dispel because I hear a lot of talk about cancel culture, blah blah, and don't get me wrong, I am wholly against cancel culture. I think it's ridiculous. Having said that, Justin, let me ask you: if we get banned off YouTube, and this is a philosophical kind of question, if we get banned on YouTube, do you feel like our freedom of speech is being infringed upon?
It's hard to say because as an American, right, we're supposed to have a right to free speech.
Right, but we
And,
don't have a
and
right to be heard.
yeah, but you know what? I agree with you there because, all right, yes, I do have the right to free speech, but that doesn't mean YouTube, who owns their own
Exactly.
company, has to let me do it.
Exactly. And a lot of people look, I see a lot of people complaining and saying things that way. And the first time Donovan Sharp got banned off YouTube, I came on his show later, and when he and I spoke about this, YouTube has every right to take any content creator off its platform.
It's their platform.
Exactly. For any reason at any time. They don't have to
Seriously.
give you an explanation.
Yeah,
It's not an infringement on your freedom of speech. You do have a right to say whatever the hell you want. You don't have the right to force anyone to listen. You don't have a right to be heard. I just wanted to clear that up because a lot of people, I feel like when we talk about these things, the term freedom of speech gets thrown around a lot and it doesn't really apply.
I mean, I do find it funny how they got rid of Tate on all these different platforms,
Yeah.
and I
And
definitely,
it was all simultaneous. There was a coordinated effort there.
yeah, it was definitely a coordinated effort. I mean, he's the most Googled man on the earth, literally.
If they did anything, and here's what I think they were trying to do maybe, and it's going to backfire because they've made him more famous than he ever was before his arrest, I think. You see a lot more of Andrew Tate now, like hearing about him and people talking about it, et
Of
cetera, et cetera.
course,
But see, in Romania, and I looked into this a little bit. In Romania, apparently, they can hold you pre-trial for 6 months while they quote unquote gather evidence.
so I guess that's what they're doing.
I think they wanted to hold them for 6 months while they're gathering evidence, which apparently and allegedly they've gathered none actual evidence, and hoping that people would forget about it. And they can legally seize his assets apparently in Romania. Romania sounds like
Yeah,
a very corrupt place. So they were hoping, I think, throw him in jail for 6 months, let people forget about him, and take all his crap and I don't know, do what with it. But
yeah, it's not gonna happen.
it's not going to happen. It's complete. If that's the tack, it's completely backfired because I think Andrew Tate's gained a lot more notoriety out of this. And when and if he gets out of this, he's going to be 10 times bigger. Because when he comes out and he tells the story about what actually happened, that might be one of those top ever watched YouTube videos or Twitch or wherever it ends up being.
I agree.
Yeah.
So I got a question for you.
Hang on, here in a second. If you're on Instagram, come on over to YouTube. Just search J&J Dating Dynamics. I'm sorry I didn't put the link up on my story, but come over to YouTube because in a minute we're going to be watching and reacting to one of the victims of Andrew Tate, who just an interview with her just dropped. So go ahead, Jesse.
So, do you feel like this is like an effort, a group effort to silence him?
Sure. It's hard to define something as a group effort when you don't really know who's in the group, but I do think media, mainly media and the people, the politicians pushing the feminist narrative and the whatever narrative we want to call it. Yeah, absolutely. I think I wouldn't find it hard to believe that a call came from the FBI or MI6 or whoever the FBI equivalent in England is, came to the Romanian authorities and said, "Hey, we need to silence this guy. Can you please go arrest him?" Romania is a NATO country, so they work very closely in law enforcement with both the United States and Britain. So yeah, I can definitely see that being a coordinated effort. Whether I don't know who did it, it may just have been Romania doing their thing. I doubt it. And see, here's the thing. Here's the reason I doubt that. Romania is an Eastern European country. These countries, especially for a man with the resources of Andrew Tate and his brother Tristan, I think is his name.
Mm-hmm.
For men with their resources, countries like Romania, Eastern Europe, Croatia, Bulgaria, the legal systems there are extremely corruptible.
Oh
And
yeah,
you can buy your way out of anything.
yeah.
If there wasn't a higher authority, whether it's the United States, media moguls, whoever, if that wasn't there, he would have been able to pay off the Romanians already and gotten out of this. I think, yeah.
So
Hey,
let me
JP,
ask.
like I said, buddy, if you want to come on, bro, just hit me up on Instagram and I'll send you the link to get you in here.
Let me ask you again. So, so you, all right? You think that it could possibly be a controlled effort? Now, why do you think whoever is making this effort to silence him? What do you think the purpose would be of that?
Say that one more time. I was reading the chat we got here.
So, if they're trying to silence Andrew Tate, why do
Sure.
you think that they are trying to do so?
Because they don't like his message. I mean, that's pretty simple. They don't like the way not only what he says, but the way he says it. You know, we saw it on Piers Morgan. Andrew Tate will do this long form content, and everybody just takes the little bite sized clips, and the narrative that gets pushed out there of him is that he's a misogynist, that he's a human trafficker now,
But
but
I'm asking, what do you think the danger is?
of having somebody like Andrew Tate,
Yeah.
I don't see a danger to
So why do
it.
you think it's so important for them?
Well, they got to see a danger to it. To them, it's a danger.
But that's what I'm saying. So, all right, I've been saying this. I've said it on a couple past podcasts that we've had, and I honestly think this goes way back to the beginning of feminism and the whole destruction of the family unit entirely. Now, do you think that that has anything to do with what's going on?
I think it's definitely the number one enemy of Andrew Tate has got to be the organized feminist movement. Organizations like NOW, the National Organization for Women, there's a few others, but these organizations have a lot, and I mean a lot of political clout. They have a lot of money. They have a lot of power over a lot of politicians. They're huge donors. Without the National Organization for, and I don't want to make the show too political, but without the National Organization for Women, the Democrat Party never wins another election. Okay.
Yeah.
And that ties into Planned Parenthood. That ties into the entire feminist, radical feminist agenda. So yeah, to them, he's a huge danger because he's very popular. He's very articulate. He's had money. He has resources, and he's garnered a lot of notoriety. Of course, he's a danger.
I don't know. For some reason, I honestly feel in the bottom of my heart that he's just trying to destroy the narrative that they've been trying to push.
Yeah,
And
he is.
that's to separate the family unit.
Yeah,
And I mean, we see it out there, and that goes. I honestly think that there's a problem right now within the dating community,
Mhm.
and that it stems from them trying to push this agenda.
Well, yeah. I mean, and I think the agenda begins with uh, quote unquote fempowerment, trying to make sure women are strong and independent. Blah 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 blah. That whole thing inevitably translates into the "I don't need no man" narrative. And now we're at a point where we have more single mothers than ever before, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But we are at 15 minutes. Instagram, please come on over to YouTube. We're about to react to this interview. And yeah, that's it on Instagram. Come on over.
Guys, if you're in my story, check it out. Click the link; it'll bring you right to YouTube.
Here you go. Come on.
Have a
Come on
good night.
over. React to this interview. Should be fun. And we are off Instagram. All right, YouTube. How you doing? It's just us. All right. All right. Jay Blaze is hitting me up. Let me get him in here.
All right, let's do it.
Let's do it. Jay Blaze coming on. Let's see.
So, what did you think of last week's episode?
Our episode?
Yeah,
I had a lot of fun.
it was pretty cool. I want to get Ronnie on again.
Yeah, Ronnie is a cool dude. All right, Jay Blaze, I'm sending you this link now. All right, there's the link, my man. Try to see if you're on a computer that works better, but if you have to be on a phone, so be it. That'll work. All right, so we are gonna bring up this interview here in just a second. Let me bring up the proper tab. And the girl that did this interview is a supposed. I've never seen her in my life, but supposedly she's a pretty famous, or, notable TikToker and some sort of influencer. And she keeps claiming that, quote unquote, she's not a victim. She's the only one. Now, the remaining authorities are classifying her as a victim.
And she's saying she's not.
She's saying she's not. Right. So that, I think, is an interesting little narrative. All right, let's do this. Can you see that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Let me play the intro so we can give full credit to this channel. Actually, the intro is just a little squibbit. So we're going to start right here. And Thesee and Tom Khan. So shout out to them. And this falls under the fair use rights. So we are able to react to this.
And this is one of the alleged victims I've got an interview. I'm joined by Suleiman Ahmed, also an interview, who's a neutral investigative journalist. I'm sure after this video your mind will change whether you are against him or not. You're going to see the truth behind Tate's detention in Romania. Just introduce.
Okay. How's the audio on that? Good for you?
Yeah, it was a little noisy, but it sounded like it was coming from the video.
Yeah, I think it might be the music they had playing, but once we get once they just get talking and take the music out, it should be
okay.
Right.
Myself, I know we've never met. I'm Tam Khan. I'm an old friend of Andrew. And for me, this whole case is very personal in a way.
I'm Suleiman Ahmed. I'm an independent journalist. I have no connection to the Tates whatsoever. And the basis for this is to get down to the bottom of exactly what's been happening and what the facts are. So thank you.
Now, that's very good, very smart of them is to bring on an independent journalist. Absolutely, 100% the right thing to do that. I will say that.
Thank you very much for joining us. Jasmina, when did you actually meet the Tates?
It wasn't long after I moved back to Romania. It was in beginning of 2021.
Why do you refer to the Tates as family? Why do you call them family?
Because they are family. You know what I've been saying for a long time, family doesn't necessarily mean that you have the same blood or DNA with someone. I got to know them and I saw how good and kind and how hardworking they were. So they became family really fast.
So how do the Tates treat the women around them?
They have never been aggressive in any way. They won't just ignore someone if you try to talk to them.
Moving.
One thing, and I don't know what you think, but one thing I don't like about the way this interview is being released is that there's cuts in it.
Yeah.
It's been edited. So as we watch this, let's keep that in mind. Okay.
Yeah.
More onto the case. You released a video, and in the video you mentioned that the you were living in yourself was your house. Can you just clarify that for us, please?
They raid my house that I am renting with another friend, and it was their house. And the house I am renting, I have a landlord. She has nothing to do with them at all.
You also mentioned that Deco destroyed the CCTV. How did you know this? How did you come to this conclusion?
Because obviously I am directly involved in the case. So it's the law. The authorities and the lawyers, they have to inform me about stuff too.
So
What do they have to inform her of? That they tapped the CCTV?
Pull it back. Actually, I didn't hear it.
Yeah, that was kind of hard to follow. Let me.
I'm renting with
Video, and in the video you mentioned that the house that you were living in yourself was your house. Can you just clarify that for us, please?
they raid my house that I am renting
Okay, so the police raided her house as well.
Mm-hmm.
with another friend, and it was their house. And the house I am renting, I have a landlord. She has nothing to do with them at all.
you also mentioned that Deco destroyed the CCTV. How
Who said?
Yeah, they destroyed the CCTV. Who
I.
did?
I
It's
have a
it's what he
landlord. She
didn't.
has nothing
Hold
to
on.
do with them at all.
What?
It's what he said that I'm not hearing. It's the very beginning.
But it's something about the closed circuit television.
you also mentioned that Deco destroyed the CCTV. How did you know this? How did you
I don't know. Let's listen to her answer. Hopefully, it clarifies it.
come to this conclusion?
Because obviously I am directly involved in the case. So it's the law. The authorities and the lawyers, they have to inform me about stuff too.
So they just threw it off the case. They're not using it as
Yeah.
anything. Okay.
Oh, they're not. They threw out. They're not using the CCTV footage.
Yeah.
That seems kind of. I would want my CCTV footage shown. That seems like an important piece of evidence, doesn't it?
Yeah. Depending what's on there.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It probably showed absolutely nothing, so they threw it out.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If there's nothing on there, it's
So
like
that
it's
was
not important.
confirmed by the Tate's lawyers that they weren't including any of the footage throughout this entire period. So my question to you is, why do you think they destroyed the evidence or did not want to include the evidence into the case?
Everyone can see this from the outside. This case is full of corruption. Obviously, they don't want them to get out of the arrest, right? They want to keep them there as long as possible. And they have no proof in this case. So what they're trying to do is just like keep them there for longer. So they will like look for more evidence that doesn't exist, more evidence that they will never have because there has been no crime committed whatsoever.
The BBC, I think Gondal and the judiciary confirmed you and Beatrice are two of the alleged victims. Can you confirm this to us? And how do you know you are actually confirmed as alleged victims?
After they got arrested, that's when I found out that I was a victim in this case, and I never gave my statement as a victim. So I was very shocked and surprised it even happened.
Yeah, that seems kind of very.
That's sketchy as hell.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like you getting a letter like, "Hey, you were the victim of a car accident that you were never in."
Yeah.
Happened, and I did give in total 3 statements. Yeah, 3 statements in total, and 2 of them were given after the second raid, after 29th of December of last year when they got arrested, and it was totally ignored and not approved.
Just to clarify, what you're saying is you could give live evidence, but what they're trying to do is discredit that evidence by saying that they've brainwashed you.
Yeah.
But did they?
Okay. What do you think about that? The authorities are telling her that she's brainwashed.
It sounds like they're the ones trying to do the brainwashing.
Yeah, it absolutely does, doesn't it?
I mean, I honestly thought we were going to be watching a video where there was 2 legit victims. I didn't know we were going to have a victim speaking out against.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy.
Like she's just proving the Tate boys right.
Right, exactly. I don't think any of the actual quote unquote alleged victims have spoken out.
I don't know. At this point, so far, just hearing what she has to say, it sounds like they're just really trying to take this man down.
Yeah, it's a lot of nothing. All right, let's keep listening.
They give you any explanations as to why?
No, they gave me an explanation that this is the procedure. this is why we have to do this. But they haven't given me an explanation about why they are not approving my statements and why I'm being ignored, why I'm stated as a victim. I tried to talk to them a lot of times, but no one is listening to me.
All right, here's a legal question. If you have a victim that's stalking, why would you throw out her statements?
Oh, that just all of that sounds super sketchy, man.
Yeah, this is all full of sketch. Sure.
You mentioned in a number of videos that you asked Descartes to remove you as a victim. What explanation did they give to say that they will not remove you?
None. They are completely ignoring me. In the first statement ever that we gave in April, I clarified the whole case, how it happened. I answered all the questions as the truth. And if you read my statement from April, even those from now, anyone could see that everything that's been assumed, it's a lie. It's a huge lie.
I mean, that is huge, because what you're essentially saying is the witness statements are so damaging to the prosecution, and that's the reason why they don't want to include it.
Exactly. This sounds like Venezuela. Not a European country, but then again, it is Eastern Europe. So, excuse me.
I don't know, man. It sounds like some kind of conspiracy to me.
Yeah, it really, really does. Let's keep going here.
They came into our homes, raided our homes, and then they took us to the police section. They said, okay, you're going to be interviewed, you're going to give your statements. And I asked them, what's the reason? And they said, no, you're going to figure it out later. You're going to find out later.
But what do you think it is, what you've said, is a reason why they'll never file them or produce them?
In my witness statement.
The truth.
I am speaking the truth. I've been saying the truth always since April of last year. And that's what they want to avoid. They want to avoid a voice, and they want to avoid people finding out the truth in the first place, because that will mean that the case will be done.
Why would you raid the victim's house? Bro, this may be the sketchiest shit I've ever heard. Mind you, I will state this from the get-go, I am not familiar with Romanian law, but this just seems sketchy as.
I don't know, man. It sounds like a lot like it might just be easy to pay them off.
Yeah.
To try and hold them under some bogus counts. And they just, obviously, this girl was involved. They made her out to be a victim, but they're not hearing her out about it.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever. Believe all women, you know?
They will lose the case. And that's what they don't want, because they have so much going on behind. Elections coming up in 2024. You have the leadership spot.
There it is. It's almost an election year. Of course they're doing this. Of course they're doing this. My God.
Open in the decode, which the prosecutor wants. There is so much more to this case that people don't see. You only see what media brings, and those are just assumptions.
So,
do
you think they're trying to silence Andrew before he can get a hold on who he's like feeling strongly about who should be voted on in America?
I don't know, because he was already pretty popular in the last election. I don't know, how involved was he with the Trump-Biden election?
I don't know, but maybe they're just worried that he's just a man with power, and anything he says, a lot of people, you know.
You know what? I can see a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? A lot of feminist-driven media organizations trying to take down people like Andrew Tate, because Kamala Harris is going to be the Democratic nominee.
Yeah,
they don't want to repeat a Hillary Clinton.
If it was going to be any party to try and like silence him, I would definitely say it was the Dems.
Oh, of course, that goes.
And just so everybody knows, I don't go on any party, right or left.
I'm an independent. I used to be a Republican. Now I'm like, whatever.
For me, what's right is right, and what's wrong is wrong.
Amen. All right, let's keep it going.
You are not a victim. You consider the Tates as family, yet the judiciary and the prosecutor are ignoring you. Now,
Yeah.
one last argument people have is you've got Stockholm syndrome. And what that means is that the Tates were basically controlling you. And so you're brainwashed into saying these things. So we want to ask some questions about that. So the first question is, did the Tates control you?
No one has ever controlled me, not even my parents. Okay, there's being controlled. That's a big word. And do I seem like the girl that is controlled? No, no one was ever controlled.
What decisions did you make on your own, for example? It must sound too crazy knowing, just looking at your characteristics and mannerism, it doesn't look like a victim to me, you know, already just from the way you look, your presence, and your kind of like character is quite positive, you know? But these questions just to silence a lot of the critics and the biased media. So a lot of them say, like, what did you decide on your own? What kind of like decisions did you make, just for example?
I can just say everything.
Okay.
Because I decided everything for my own. I cannot say that they've ever decided anything for me or no one else. I chose to speak out right now because I wanted to. And I'm a really personal and private person. But, you know, when you see your family and your closest friends being punished for crimes they didn't commit, then you obviously stop and go out with that. So, no, I've always made my own decisions. I've always done whatever I wanted to do. There has never been a grudge on holding me back on doing anything.
So there wasn't a scenario where you were.
What are your thoughts about that? Could she possibly have Stockholm syndrome of some kind?
I mean, I agree with the one guy on the left talking to her. Like it just in her body language alone, it doesn't look like she's displaying like I don't know. I feel like somebody that was the victim, even if they're like talking about it, there's gonna be like some verbal cues, some cues in her body language that just make you can tell she's uncomfortable, and she sounds very comfortable.
Yeah, usually people who are susceptible to brainwashing or even some kind of Stockholm syndrome usually tend to be pretty weak-minded people. She doesn't strike me as a weak-minded person.
Not at all.
On holding me back on doing anything.
So there wasn't a scenario where you were trapped or locked up in the Tate's house.
Never. And no one has ever been trapped in their house.
When I do podcasts or I speak about this, everyone asks me the same question, so I'm going to have to ask you. Is there any kind of clear-cut proof or evidence if they brought you to say that Tates did a crime? Would you accept it? Is there anything they could show you which would make you think, okay, you know what? I'll accept they've done something. What would it take for you to accept there's a crime?
There has been no crime made. And there will not be a crime. When it comes to them, they are very straight and going for people. They don't like crimes. They are very good people. So whatever the police, the authorities, whatever people might bring out as a crime, I can say from now, I don't believe in any of it.
But this is a hypothetical question.
Yeah, so she just said something very important. The prosecution, and with everything that they're doing, things like throwing out witness statements, raiding a victim's house, they're losing the credibility themselves to be able to come out and actually provide
you're right.
the true evidence. Now nobody's going to believe them. I don't understand how you could present this to a jury.
I don't know. I think eventually they're going to end up being released and they're not going to find any evidence.
Yeah, they're going to have to. I mean, they've bungled this. Even if you're a neutral observer, or even if you're against Andrew Tate, from the little bit that I know, you have to look at the prosecution and at the government as completely inept, because I think they've completely bungled this.
And the question is this: let's say there's a hypothetical scenario where the Tates did commit a crime that you weren't aware of, and there was some video evidence. Would you accept it?
I would accept it, but as I said before, it's very hard to even think of that.
Based on your own experience, you just don't believe that there would be?
Absolutely.
And that's important because if you were unwilling to accept that they could ever commit a crime, that could be an indicator that you were brainwashed. But obviously, you are saying to us right now, if there was unequivocal evidence that they did, you would accept it. But just that you know based on your experience that you wouldn't. Is that right?
Yeah.
No, I understand a lot with this because when I speak on the same thing, I said, I don't believe a thing. You can give me 1,000 witnesses. I don't believe because I know them personally. Unless you give me clear cut, like we're saying to you, show me clear cut proof. And until that day, yeah, exactly.
Unless you show me the proof,
There's nothing.
I can never say that's true.
And people think I'm crazy saying this.
And this case, as I'm so involved in it, I obviously know there is no proof. But like in general, talking about it, no, I will never. I will accept if you give me proof, 100%. But unless you give me proof, which they haven't given out either when it comes to this case, I don't believe anything.
Yeah, I think that highlights their characters. People who personally know them, they laugh that we kind of like impossible. That's why we say this, and people can't resonate with us. They don't understand because they don't know them personally, and that's why you have the same reaction I do.
I've been speaking out now for a long time. Obviously, I've tried to reach the authorities and the police, and that didn't work out. There are many things around the media which are lies, and I really want everyone to stop looking at that and start looking into the truth and what we show as proof and start believing what's right.
I'm sorry. In what legal? My mind is blown by this. In what legal world does a quote unquote victim and witness doesn't get like they get ignored? How does that happen?
I'm telling you that
Unless it's absolutely massively corrupt.
this is literally the state of the world. Like it's if the higher ups don't like what you're doing or what you have to say, you just get canceled. Like that's just where we're at these days, and it's literally with everything.
Yeah. And Jay, you know that's funny too. Jay Blaze says it right here. Tate gave Romania so much good press. He loves that country.
Yeah, he really did. He was constantly talking good about Romania.
He was saying, he would say things like, "I want, freedom, blah blah blah." So I moved to Romania. I want good women, so I moved to Romania.
It's a great place to live.
Yeah. So he says. All right, let's keep it rolling here.
Not what's wrong, because people talk about me being brainwashed and having the Stockholm syndrome. And yes, I've been reading the comments on Twitter, but those people that write those exact comments are the ones being brainwashed. The only thing I gotta say is I'm not a victim. I've never been a victim. No one has committed any crimes, and people that have done nothing wrong are paying for.
And I think after speaking to you, and this is the first time I've spoken to you and ever met you, and it's just scary for me. I want to add to this before we finish is you're clearly not a victim. You've spoken out and no one is taking that seriously, which shows such corruption at such a high level where you've got people's lives on the line and they're still ignoring it and people ignore it. And I say all the time, whether you like the Tate's content or not, that's nothing to do with it. I don't mind. But this is not fair. This is human rights violation, yeah. And I can't see with Romania on this magnifying glass in front of the whole world, they can get away with this. It's sickening.
I just want my family to come back home and, I want justice to be made, obviously. There's always been corruption in Romania, but this is a whole other limit.
I think the Romanian population themselves should take a look at this, take away their bias ideas of the Tates and think anyone could be a victim, anyone could be perpetrator or a convict. So it's dangerous.
The real victims right now are Andrew Tristan and the two other girls being arrested. They are victims of the corruption and victims of the authorities. That's the fact. Those are the real victims. And it's the police and the authorities. They are the guilty ones. They are the ones that should be paying for punishing people that have done nothing wrong. Yeah, and us. We're also victims because we suffer seeing.
Yeah, we gotta put up with this stuff. Yeah, let's stop it there. I mean, it's pretty obvious that just from a legal standpoint, forget the media and the PR standpoint, this seems like a pretty bad case.
They don't have anything to stand on. They don't have a leg to stand on.
They have absolutely nothing. It's crazy to me. It really does sound like freaking Venezuela.
I wonder, like, what happens to these guys when they're not convicted of anything? Are they, you
Nothing.
know,
I think the damage is done. The damage is done forever and forever. Even if the Romanian president himself came out right now and said Andrew Tate is guilty of absolutely nothing, all these fempowerment people, they're still going to call him a human trafficker. The damage is done. The court of public opinion is relentless. I think back to the I don't know if you remember the Duke Lacrosse rape case.
yeah.
Yeah, those three guys, their reputations were damaged for life. I bet you they're still dealing with the ramifications, even though they were falsely accused. It is insane to me that this is, and it's funny. The legal system's supposed to be the great equalizer, right? And it's just proving.
Bro, listen, more and more these days, I feel like people are just not trusting in the media. They're not trusting in the government because just more and more has been coming to the surface year after year, and things are just changing for the worst. And
Yeah.
people are waking up.
Yeah, 100%, 100%, and it's just going to keep happening until you and Donovan talked about the pendulum shifting, right?
Yeah.
Until that pendulum fully swings, it's going to stay like this.
Yeah, but when that thing fully swings,
oh, it's going to be a back.
I've been seeing something about, like, I think like every 88 years or something, there's like something cataclysmic, like some kind of battle or a war, and like it said that we're getting close to that time.
When was the last one? World War II?
I think they were comparing it to like the beginning of like World War One.
Well,
and
we're way past 88 years from that.
Yeah, like 88 to like 100 years. But then I was thinking, like, what if this actually goes down? Because it could definitely be that we're in that space now, because it looks like shit is starting to hit the fan everywhere.
It could be. I mean, World War One was triggered, and actually World War II, because World War One triggered World War II, was triggered by an assassination of somebody's nephew. So, I mean, yeah, the smallest events can spiral out of control, 100%.
I don't know. Do you think it would be anything civil?
Anyway,
like basically the people versus their government?
Maybe that does happen. No, Jay Blaze, I can't do that. Let me do this.
Trying to get him in here?
Yeah, but apparently it's not working for him.
Jay Blaze, all you got to do is use your Chrome browser.
He says he's using a Chromebook, but it's not working.
Did you send it to his email?
No, Jay Blaze, if you want to put your email on the chat and then delete your comment, I can do that.
Because that's how I get in. Usually, Joel here will send me a link through my email, and that's how I get in.
Yep. Actually, no. Well, you know what? All right, Jay Blaze, I'm putting the link in the comments, and then I'll delete it if I can. Hopefully. There you go. Yeah, I can delete this. So. All right, I want to get Jay Blaze in here. I want to hear his. Oh, wait, just sent me. Oh, there he is. All right. Welcome to the program for the first time ever. One of our most loyal listeners, Mr. Jay Blaze. And then my mouse stopped. Oh, there he is. All right.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, do me a favor. Turn your computer down. For the first time ever, one of our most loyal listeners, Mr. Jay Blaze. And then my mouse stopped. Oh, there he is.
Hey, can you hear me?
Turn your computer down. For the first time ever, one of our most. Yeah, turn the volume. If you have it on YouTube on another tab, just turn the volume.
Okay. So here's the thing.
Welcome to the program, man. Thanks for joining us. And thank you for your continued support, bro. You're always on the chat, just living it up. I love it.
Hey, no problem. Hey, so here's the thing about the Tates. They want them silenced to the point, and they put so much stuff into Romania. Like they probably increased tourist sales like a ton.
Yeah.
But this is so it was the same with Kyrie Irving and the Tates. They want the regular people to say these people have millions of dollars, and look at what we're doing to them. They want the regular person saying, I can't fight back against this
Yeah,
if they have millions of
exactly.
dollars.
People are going to be saying, "Damn, if somebody like Andrew Tate can't fight back,
Yeah.
what chance do I have?"
Yeah,
Exactly.
they want to keep us poor, and they don't want. They're sending a message of positivity to young men out there to go and be the best that you can be, and go out there and you will achieve your dreams. And they don't want us to do that. They want to keep us down.
No, schools in England are paying $2 billion of taxpayers' monies to try and re-educate the young men away from Tate's messaging. They want men to be just a very just to give. They want to keep the
We're just workers.
matriarchy going.
We're just
Absolutely.
workers.
That's a good segue into the show, but that's where female entitlement in modern dating goes, right there, right there. And it's the fact that because men get indoctrinated to believe all these things, that they have to give, and give, we led ourselves into this position. Feminism's one thing, but we've enabled it.
Exactly.
I think it's mainly men's fault. We've enabled this environment.
It is
Definitely.
wild how the modern day has brought it all the way back to to the Bible and the Adam and Eve sort of
Yeah.
thing with the serpent. It's wild.
I definitely agree. I didn't really think there was a problem until like a couple years back that I noticed things changing. And for me, it really started with the whole Me Too movement. And I'm for the women on that completely.
Exactly.
If those women were being put in positions where they couldn't get ahead in their career without doing any kind of sexual favors, stuff like that, that's uncalled for.
And it's illegal.
And it's illegal. That I'm for the women on that. But I feel like from that, I felt like there was a shift and we didn't know what the hell was going on. And it went from attacking the men that were doing those crimes to attacking men in general.
And that's the problem. That's where it gets off the rails. It's when you start saying believe all women. That gives
So-
license to a lot of bad women out there who take advantage of men to throw men under the bus just because they can and just to get ahead of them
Oh, there's men falsely incriminated of stuff all the time.
every day.
So Me Too also had a different messaging where they wanted to shift the balance of power in Hollywood. This is why you have so many bad movies and stuff. They wanted feminists and activists in places of power, like Disney and stuff.
Oh,
So this is why you have so many bad movies.
Disney is rampant with feminism propaganda.
Exactly.
Yeah, I recently, over the last 6 months or so, I've gotten into all the Marvel movies, and it is so obvious when they said, "Okay, this movie is going this way, but wait, we got to stop and throw a big feminist message in there."
Exactly.
It's rampant. It's crazy.
Well, they can't stop it because they have them so high up because of Me Too and stuff.
Mhm.
The feminists and activists are so high up in the company now, they can't stop it.
No, of course they can. And
Yeah.
if they try to stop it somehow, then there will be backlash. Now Disney's going to get canceled.
And they ruin Star Wars. Woke turns everything to awful.
I'm sorry, but literally, what happened to the balls in this country, bro? Like, was it really that
That's the
bad?
question. That's the ultimate question that the red pill's trying to answer.
I had a conversation with my father yesterday. I spent some time with my dad yesterday. And I was like, Dad, this is before I was born. My dad's 20 years older than me. He had me at 20. I go, Dad, before I was born, even within that 20 years, can you agree with me on this? And I asked him, I was like, do you think that in the past 15 years alone, that life in America has changed for the most like drastic and worst that you've ever seen. Like it's a completely different world. And he said, son, I agree with you 100%. Like you're absolutely right. Like it's just changed, dude. It's a completely different world. Like men, I never thought that we would be looked at like the enemy.
Let
So
me ask you this. We look at this think about it as a theoretical question. You say 15 years, that pretty much comes right on line with Facebook coming on.
Yeah.
How much of this has been enabled by social media?
Well, social media has been a conduit for this whole thing because it was women empowerment from the start. You go on girls' Instagram and it's just selfie after selfie after selfie.
Yeah.
And we already, men before social media already pedestalized women. And now it's gone to the extreme.
Mhm.
And this is the reason where you have 4s, 5s, and 6s thinking that they can get 9s and 10 men. Like
That brings me. Hang on. Go ahead and keep finishing your point because now
I was done right there.
So my brother just had a kid, and I think back because I grew up in the '90s, and I think I had a pretty good childhood, and I'm just like, what kind of childhood is that kid gonna have? Because I used to be able to go down the street, see my friends and stuff, but social media has made us so isolated
Yeah.
that it is insane. Like it's supposed to like connect everyone, but we're so isolated.
Yeah.
Another thing my dad told me yesterday, he goes, you know what? He goes, your age, your generation was pretty much the last generation that had like that old school upbringing, kind of similar to what I had. And yeah, we were very much different, but I was still a kid that was out in the streets playing with my friends. My mom had to fight me to get in the house, you know?
Exactly.
Now parents are trying to kick their kids out of the house.
Yeah.
Go play outside, damn it. Get off that Facebook. Get off the
So
computer.
Rolo had a Rule Zero show where remember we did like bus balls, like well friends and stuff. These kids don't have that anymore.
No.
So when you go up to women and it's sort of like you can bust them like in a way, like tease them and stuff. These young men don't have that anymore. They don't know how to tease or because they don't have a friend group to like bust balls. Like I don't have too many friends, and you lose that social like practice.
Yeah, they have no interaction skills like at all. Dude, you know what I've been realizing? Just going to stores where
Exactly.
there's like younger generations working, like they don't know how to interact with a human being at the register, at anything. So have you guys gone to anywhere and paid for something at the register? And
Yeah.
like there'll be a young girl there and another young girl will come up. This girl's checking her phone and making you wait a couple extra seconds till she's done checking her phone. And then she drops her phone. And then her coworker comes up and she's like, can you believe what Crystal did? I can't even. And it's like they're doing this right as you're trying to buy your stuff. And it's like, who the hell is teaching these kids how to be people? Like functioning members of society at all. Like they just, dude, there's a I don't know. There's a
And
gap.
I even noticed that when so say you start talking to guys like a lot, yeah, like say somebody says something that you disagree with, you don't really think too much about it. But when you're on the internet a lot and it's very like matter of fact, like decisive, if somebody disagrees with you, you go like you have to catch yourself into like getting pissed off at it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think we've actually reached the point where actually I think people are far more argumentative now than they've ever been. I think people are actually more willing to die on a hill, even if they're proven wrong. Like it's seen like the worst thing you can do is admit that you're wrong.
So I have a perfect one for this, and I've been saying it. I feel like now we live in a day where people they'll do something wrong, right? And something they know that they're doing wrong to you, right? And you call them out on it, and now you're the bad guy for calling them out on it. They double down on their wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I'm saying. Even after being proven wrong, the worst thing they could do is not apologize, it's admit they were wrong.
It's
But,
funny because I even see this on the road driving. Somebody will cut you off, and you honk the horn, and they'll throw the middle finger at you like you're the one that just cut them off. People double down on their wrongs.
They really
I'll
do.
also notice, like, say somebody agrees 96% with the message that person preaches, but that 4% will get them ostracized. Like, take J.K. Rowling. She believes 96% of that liberal stuff, but she had that one issue with trans in prisons.
Yeah.
They
They're
canceled
really
her.
ostracized. And that, to be fair, that happens on both sides.
Exactly.
I'll give you a perfect example of how it happened on the right. The 2016 election, when Donald Trump won the primaries for the first time. And I know because I worked in this world before that election. That was all I did. Okay. If you look at the polling for the past 2 years, 3 years, actually, going back to 2012, the leader for the Republican nomination was Marco Rubio. Okay. And I mean, he was running away with it. He had like 70% support. Then the one thing happened when he started working on an immigration bill with John McCain. After that happened, he dropped into single digits.
Wow.
One issue of not disagreeing with people, just working with somebody who people didn't like, trying to get something done, cost him that election.
And I would think, like, 10 or 20 years ago, if you told a woman you're going to agree with 80% of what a man says, she'd take that. But now, you could say, you're going to agree 96%. She's not going to accept it.
She won't accept 1% these days.
Exactly.
Like, they'll be like, I'm going to agree with a man for what?
This man is your 99% dream man. Fuck
Yeah.
them.
Yeah,
But
but he's only making $80,000. That's not enough. I need like 250 a year.
Before, because we're almost coming up on an hour here, let me bring this up. So this is a YouTube video, and I don't really care about the girl that's making the video. I want her to read something for us, okay? Because this is an entitlement mentality that we live in. Okay, let me bring this up. And like I said, this is another YouTuber. She does reaction videos to entitled people. So I think it's pretty good. But the entitlement in this post is freaking insane. Where the hell is this? Okay, here we go. Share screen. And the one we're sharing is this one. Nope. Nope. This one. Okay. All right. I'm going to turn the volume down a bit because her voice is kind of nasally, but just kind of listen to what that she says. And I agree with her. She's doing the reaction. So.
My husband is a plastic.
Put the volume up.
Yeah.
Best you didn't see him again. I assumed his gender.
Not
My husband lost his job and I'm considering leaving him. My husband is a plastic surgeon and he previously made $500 to $700K a year with bonuses at his practice. He was recently let go due to COVID, reducing plastic surgery patient load. He's a doctor and has only been able to find general practice work. His highest offer has been $250K and he's considering accepting the offer. I know we need money, but I don't want him to get used to working in a low salary. And
in what world is $250K a low salary?
And the top 1%.
Exactly.
Not working hard to get back up to the mid sixes that we are accustomed to. He used to give me $10K a month allowance, which has now been slashed to $3K. Nails, hair, and salon services. Oh no. Whatever shall you do? My monthly shopping has been reduced significantly. I know he might recover, but he might not. And I also know my worth and what I'm accustomed. I just feel gross having to accept this sort of lifestyle.
Wow.
I would have left her a long time ago.
Oh God! If my wife had that type of attitude, Jesus Christ! Go ahead.
Did you hear Allie on Saucecast? Her husband gives her like $100 a week, and she's like perfectly happy with it.
Good.
$100 a week.
Yeah, but he pays for everything. He pays for the rent, the mortgage and stuff. I'm just like, if a woman's living in your place, does she really need that much?
No.
You're paying all the bills.
You're talking about Allie. What's her name? Something.
Allie Drummer.
Yeah, she's pretty good. I like her stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. To be honest, me and Joelle talk about that stuff, and the girls that are in the manosphere right now, like, and Donovan had an episode that I checked out. It was actually pretty dope. Like, you know what, man? The girls that are in the space right now, more power to them. And I honestly hope that those girls can reach the masses of women out there.
It takes a lot more balls to be a woman in the space
Hell yeah.
than it does to obviously be a man in the space, But
Like I hear men like complaining about them, but we're not going to reach the women. And
Yeah.
her message is better than like no message, even if a guy just checks her out because he has some crush on her.
Really, really well said. Their message is better than no message. You are watching the J&J Dating Dynamics podcast. We ran through that hour really, really quickly. But if you haven't yet, please hit the like button. If you're watching after the fact, hit the like button and subscribe. What are you doing? Why are you not subscribing?
Seriously.
If you made it this far in the video, damn it, you better freaking subscribe.
Hit that like button, subscribe. Jay Blaze, I see you've been listening to our podcast every week now, man. We thank you for your support.
I do my best to support.
It's been awesome having you in here tonight. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, he always gives good insight in the chat too.
Definitely nice to put a face to the comments.
By the way, if you would however much information you will give, where are you from? How old are you? What do you do?
I'm in Maine, and I'm 37, and just checking out red pill, trying to increase my my worth and stuff, self improvement. And then,
how old were you when you found the RP?
I was around 31, 32, and I first got into Better Bachelor, and I was like, huh, yeah. I was dealing with a breakup, and I checked them out. I was like, this can't be right. And then I kept watching more and more stuff, and then the things in my mind, like it was like the red string, that connected all the
yeah.
Points. You know what I mean?
Light bulb moment, right?
Yeah.
I might be the only guy I've heard of who discovered the red pill not because of a breakup. For me, it was out of boredom. I was looking for content. And I had once read an article by Donovan on Return of Kings. And for some reason, I was bored. It was like football season had just ended, so I had nothing to watch. And I said, you know what? I remember that guy, Donovan Sharp. Let me look him up. Looked him up. Sure as shit, found episode 2 on Apple Podcasts.
That's pretty sick.
I heard episode 2 or 3. I heard it live. It was pretty cool. I've been listening to Donovan for a while. But I wanted to do some Bumble reviews, but we're at an hour. So Justin, I'll leave it to you. Your call.
I was just gonna say, the way I discovered the red pill community was by accident as well.
Oh, good.
I was single for about a year and a half, and I was living in Miami. Miami's very difficult, and I was looking. I felt like something I was doing was wrong, and I really came to find that in Miami, I am not a valuable man at all. And
a man of value in Miami.
It is. And looking for any kind of dating advice, I turned to the internet and YouTube, and I was checking out dating coaches like the Alpha Male,
Male Strategies.
Yeah, Marnie, the dating coach, and they all give you like different dating strategies. And then I started coming across some red pill stuff, and I discovered Fresh and Fit, and then I discovered. Well, actually, you didn't put me onto Fresh and Fit, but you told me that you knew them personally.
You that I was just gonna say that was the first RP thing you ever sent me. You sent me a clip of Fresh and Fit.
And you were like, I know those guys. And then I had sent something to you one day. Not to you. I put it on my story. I'm like, I had done a couple dating advice videos myself.
Right.
And I had just threw it up on my story. I was like, who thinks I should do something like this? And then Joel responded. He was like, bro, let's do this together. And I was like, bro, let's do it. It's done.
24 episodes in, here we are.
And I just dove in, dude. I started watching Donovan and Just Pearl, and dude, I just
Rolo. Have you watched some Rolo yet?
You know what? I've watched so much stuff, and I've been waiting to get into Rolo. I just recently started watching some of his stuff,
Right.
and it's just like
Rolo-
I was sad that I waited.
Yeah, Rolo.
The Aaron Cleary stuff like puts you in a completely different perspective and in like finances and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's not even the women that really like brought me that like kind of peace. It's just open your eyes to like the media and the propaganda and stuff, and you're just going, "Oh, what?" My eyes were closed for a long time.
Absolutely, I agree with that.
All right, let's do final thoughts. Jay Blaze, we'll go to you first, my man. And thank you
Oh,
again for
not much. I'm enjoying the podcast, and maybe I'll come on again.
yeah. Let me know if we have room, we'll definitely bring you on, brother. Justin,
Hey, you're always welcome, man. Anytime you want to
Thank you.
jump in and you have something to say, definitely.
Yep.
We were talking about cancel culture before. We forgot to bring up Jordan Peterson, but his daughter actually did a video recently about the higher ups that control, what he does and where he works, trying to basically cancel him.
Hey, have you seen the? So Justin Trudeau is the Prime Minister of Canada. Have you
Yeah.
seen the videos of the public absolutely like torching him?
I haven't.
No.
So he's big on the WEF agenda, just like Biden.
Okay.
And so they're pushing a certain agenda. And because we still have our Second Amendment, Canada doesn't really. They've stripped them of their right to bear arms.
Yeah.
And so that keeps the government kind of in check, but they don't have anything to keep them in check. So you had the trucker convoy.
Yeah.
They were labeling them terrorists.
Yeah, I remember that. That was absolutely ridiculous.
This is why the Second Amendment is huge here.
Hell yeah. And we'll never lose that. They can try and control us all they want, but that's the whole reason that law is in place.
Yeah, but they can take away the ammo.
Yeah, technically they could.
They can't take away
I've heard politicians argue that we don't need gun control, we need bullet control. I've heard that. Yeah. But all right, with that, we're gonna end it there. Jay Blaze, again, thank you for joining us, my man. Again, you're welcome anytime. Justin, as always, buddy. You gotta do some trimming, bro. Maybe you won't be as ugly. And we'll keep having that debate. But that is going to do it for tonight. If you haven't yet, hit that like button, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Later.